Good evening. Coming up on News Central, a standoff in Lucasville, Ohio has come to an end.
And Dyslexia Awareness Week begins next week. We'll give you the details. I'm David Scott.
And I'm Angie Schramski. News Central is next.
Serving the Mount Pleasant community and Central Michigan University. With Angie Schramski, Dave Scott, John Spitzley with weather, and Todd Cox with sports. Live from Central Michigan University, this is News Central.
Another standoff has come to an end this afternoon after 11 days.
Today, inmates agreed to surrender with a list of 21 terms at the Lucasville prison in Ohio. There is already a lag in the surrendering process. Ohio corrections officials say a lawyer is at the Lucasville prison, but they don't know if negotiations have resumed. Only the uninjured inmates have come out as guardsmen, SWAT team members, and law enforcement officers stand by. The lawyer, Nikki Swartz, is advising inmates who took hostages over an Easter Sunday riot. Prison officials haven't commented on the statements made following 2 hours of negotiations by inmates and state officials yesterday. There is no sign of the 5 hostages being freed yet.
Less than 2 hours ago, President Plachta and Jesse Jackson met for the first time in Washington. The meeting was scheduled last week after Jackson heard about the racial tensions on campus due to the firing of Coach Dambrot. The meeting began late this afternoon in Rainbow Coalition headquarters. Jackson's press secretary did not know the specific items on the agenda, but assumes they will discuss racism and sexism not only in athletics but across the campus and how student life can be affected by these situations. University spokeswoman Ray Goldsmith expects the meeting will be exploratory in nature.
Earlier this week, a federal district judge denied former CMU basketball coach Keith Dambrot's request to reinstate him as coach. Now, 9 of Dambrot's former players are joining him in a lawsuit against the administration. The lawsuit contends CMU violated the former coach's and the players' First Amendment rights and denied Dambrot's rights under the union labor contract with his termination. These are the 9 players who are standing by their former coach. Dambrot recruited all these athletes when they were high school athlete stars. All of them are freshmen here at Central. Dambrot's attorney obtained 12 signed affidavits from players in support of him. The suit was filed in federal district court and names President Plachta, Vice President of University Relations Russ Huron, and Athletic Director David Keltz as defendants.
Dyslexia Week, beginning this Monday, will provide educational opportunities to raise awareness of the CMU community. Coordinator of Dyslexia Awareness Week, Alice Hamachek, explains what dyslexia is and what activities will be expected next week.
Dyslexia is a disorder that expresses itself in difficulty with reading, writing, and spelling. Sometimes students have difficulty expressing themselves in oral language also. It's very frustrating because usually they are very intelligent, or at least average in intelligence, but somehow the language doesn't process, and so they know what they want to say, they know what they think they should be reading, but it doesn't always come out like that. Dyslexia Awareness Day is being held in the ballroom on Monday, and we have about 75 student volunteers from Central Michigan University who are going to pass out pencils. We have some rulers that have Dyslexia Awareness Week on them. We're going to have other kinds of things to give away, such as printed materials so students can understand more about some of the problems that dyslexics face. And then we're having some speakers come in also.
Robert Brooks from Harvard University will be at the keynote speaker at the conference in the Bovey University Center Ballroom on April 30th at 3:30 p.m. Brooks will speak on self-esteem, motivation, and learning. CMU has been involved in this program for 2 years to help the community raise awareness of this reading disorder.
Springtime is here and the spring flood along with it. News Central's Rod Winkle has a story.
You may have noticed lately that many of the area rivers have been exceeding their bounds. These rivers are higher than normal because of the recent rains and melting snow that we have experienced. This recent precipitation has been falling on saturated ground, which has forced the water to run off into the rivers, causing flood warnings to be issued in many of the low-lying areas around the community.
Our concern, we have some homes and places that are in some of the lower lying areas, and it's basically just a warning to these people that the waters could come up and could cause some problems for them. But as far
when waters are high, there are some basic concerns that you need to keep in mind.
whenever you have waters that raise like this along rivers or creeks or even along the ditch banks, you have water moving. Some of these ditches we have around here are 4 or 5 foot deep, and they're full of water, and moving water can take a young child or even an adult off their feet, and serious problems could happen. So we want to warn people, especially smaller children, just to watch them and keep them away from those flooded areas.
Well, the river is a little bit higher than normal right now. It's not much different than what's usually experienced during the spring runoff period. However, if you are outside and near a river, you may want to take a little extra precaution as the current is very rapidly moving. Rod Wankel, News Central.
The university's decision to terminate a professor for awarding grades and credit to students who did little or no work is being upheld by an arbitrator. The professor, who has not been identified by the university, is one of the 2 terminated last June following an extensive investigation. That investigation began in February of 1992 after a routine review of academic records indicating the possibility of some students being treated differently from other students as far as grades and related work. Both professors filed grievances contesting the university's decision for termination. Both grievances led to binding arbitration, which provided the collective bargaining agreement between the university and the faculty association. The schools received the arbitrator's decision last week. However, the results of the second professor's arbitration, which was heard by a different arbitrator, has not been received.
Gang violence has struck locally at Mount Pleasant West Intermediate School. Angry parents testified to attacks made on them and their children during last night's school board meeting. These incidents include a bottle bomb exploding outside a resident's home, harassing phone calls, and a teenage boy beating up by a gang member after a school dance. School Superintendent Robert Jansen says school officials are working with police to help curb the violence. Parents are afraid that a student may be killed if something drastic is not done soon.
John Spitzley joins us now to give us a look at what's coming up in his weather forecast.
Well, Angie, the rain has left the Michigan area and it's brought in some nice weather. We should see that for the next few days. I'll have my forecast coming up a little bit later on.
Good news. Thank you.
And when we come back, we have an update on President Clinton's education plan.
And last night in Moorhawk, Kiva, a nationally known gay couple spoke to CMU students. We have that story. Stay tuned.
Told you before we went to see the kids to wrap them water pipes with insulation.
Yeah, should have listened.
And didn't I tell you to leave the doors under the sink open?
Yep.
And leave the heat on?
Yep.
You know, if you'd done all them things, we wouldn't have had to rip out the wall-to-wall carpet when we got home.
Yep, I know.
And we wouldn't have drowned the Victrola.
Yep, should have listened.
Those fools.
Oh, I got one.
Having the right resume is vital to your future career. That's why you need a resume from Copy Corner, your professional resume headquarters. Copy Corner will help you every step of the way, from writing to layout to printing. And you'll end up with a resume to impress any prospective employer. For one resume or 100, you can't beat our prices, high quality, or fast service. So for a professional resume, contact the experts at Copy Corner, located in Sattler Square, Big Rapids, and the Cinema Plaza, Mount Pleasant.
Personally, I learned about the disease and all the implications when my brother was diagnosed. And it was a harsh reality. I had to learn a lot very quickly. Even though I thought I knew a lot about AIDS, the picture changed when it became a family issue.
If I, the son of a Baptist minister from basically a rural area, can acquire AIDS, Anybody can.
Obviously, women can get AIDS. I mean, I'm certainly here to witness to that. That it's not a we-they disease, it's an us disease.
AIDS is not a problem that affects other people. AIDS affects us all. Know the facts about AIDS. Know how to protect yourself and your family. Tell others. For answers to your questions about AIDS, call 1-800-342-AIDS.
The Gay and Lesbian Association for Student Support, along with other campus groups, such as the Student Government Association and the Provost Board, sponsored a forum discussing homosexuality.
News Central's Gretchen Veneman was there.
I remember as far back as being 3 or 4 and feeling like I didn't belong anywhere. The scariest thing about admitting to myself that I'm gay and accepting that part of me is that I still want a life. I still want to just be a person. I don't want to be identified by my sexuality. I don't want to be held back in things I want to do with my life, and I want to fall in love.
The nationally known gay couple, Bob and Rod Jackson Paris, spoke at CMU addressing the issues of homosexuality and hopes to educate students about the ignorances they deal with every day.
We hope that we can come to campus and tie homophobia in with sexism, in with racism. They're not all the same thing, but there's a good chance that if somebody's one, they're probably another, and they really do all relate to each other, and we can't relate to each other as people until we can get rid of all that garbage.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We're just here to talk about human understanding.
Hundreds of students showed up tonight at the Moore Hall Kiva to listen to Bob and Rod Jackson Paris. And as Glasgow President Paul Emmett says, he was surprised at the success of the conservative campus's interest.
I think they helped open a lot of people's minds, and I think it's going to decrease homophobia on this campus. And I also think it educated the gay and lesbian community on this campus about the need for people to come out, about the need for people to fight for their rights.
Some students agree and say they feel more informed about the gay and lesbian society.
I've learned that if my children ever gay or lesbian, I'll be very open-minded and love them just for who they are.
I think it's good for people to learn more, open their minds up about different people and different styles of life.
The married couple say they're still fighting for homosexual civil rights. Now their marriage is only acknowledged by their church. Their battle, as they say, is just to be able to love. Reporting for News Central, Gretchen Veneman.
This afternoon, the Alumni House invited graduating seniors to a special reception on their pending graduation. News Central Chris Socha was there. We'll have this story a little bit later on. Meanwhile, a bill was passed by the state Senate which will help in Ann Arbor win custody of a child they have been raising since birth. The bill is aimed at aiding John and Roberta Dober win the custody dispute with an Iowa couple over the Iowa's biological daughter. The legislation would give the couple standing in Michigan court to fight the custody of Jessica. Danielle and Roberta Schmidt have won custody in the Iowa court, but are awaiting a ruling by the Michigan Supreme Court. The measure now goes to the House.
President Clinton's education plan calls for voluntary national standards, teacher improvement, and a looser bureaucratic reign. The proposals released today don't require national tests or say if states must give poorer districts aid to keep their funding on a level with richer districts.
New evidence has been obtained by federal officials that the fire that destroyed the cult compound in Texas was destroyed by the cult members themselves. Carl Stern of the Justice Department says a surveillance helicopter was used on the compound. The helicopter spotted 3 different flare-ups in 3 different locations of the compound that went off simultaneously. Although surviving cult members claim the FBI started the fire by knocking over a lantern, Stern says, quote, "You can't knock over a lantern in 3 parts of a building at once," unquote. Also, the Arab decision to resume peace talks and a step toward peace and not surrender, says PLO Chairman Yasser Arafat. He also told reporters the move is an attempt to show good intentions. Secretary of State Warren Christopher says he's pleased that Palestinians have decided to resume Middle East peace talks with Israel last week.
And people will be found not in violence and rejection, but in negotiations that produce tangible results.
The secretary also says the U.S.'s opposition to a formal Palestinian state being formed in the occupied lands will not be changed.
When we return, Todd Cox has all of CMU's baseball highlights.
But first, John Spitzley will have the sunny forecast. Stay with us.
Long ago, in a place where there was nothing, something incredible began to happen. As the centuries passed, a beautiful forest blossomed, and all was well. Then one day, a man was careless. And once again, there was nothing.
That's my dad. And that's Mom. Dad's got an idea. A way to get rid of all the grody garbage that's polluting the world. He's invented a big rocket ship to shoot all the garbage into outer space. Mom's not sure. But Dad says his invention will save the world.
There's an easier way to save the world. Recycle. For your free recycling action guide, write Recycle. Environmental Defense Fund, 257 Park Avenue South, New York, New York.
Do you live like this? Crowded, overpriced, distant from campus? Why? When Arthur's Village offers affordable, spacious apartments close to campus. Residents especially like the large bedrooms and ample living space.
I have so much room here at Arthur's Village I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. Now I have room for all my stuff.
Arthur's Village apartments are not only spacious, but affordable too. With 9-month leases and low summer rates, Arthur's Village meets students' budgets.
Arthur's Village is so affordable that after paying my rent, I have enough money left over to do the things I enjoy doing.
Arthur's Village economical 3- and 4-bedroom furnished apartments are also close to campus.
I just had a rough day of classes. I'm ready to go over to SAC, work off a little tension, playing some hoops. And since I'm so close to campus, I can be there in a few minutes.
Arthur's Village. Spacious. Affordable. Close to campus. Located at 722 West Broomfield. Call 772-2163 for more information.
Well, good evening, everyone. Currently outside, it's 50 degrees. We have a dew point at 26. Relative humidity is 28%. The barometer is holding steady at 30.10, and the wind is out of the northwest at 10 miles per hour. Our normal high for today should be around 58 degrees. We had a record high of 84 back in 1985. Our normal low is 38, and we had a record of 25 back in 1953. Let's take a look at our satellite image from today, this afternoon. You see that this is the radar image, and we have a line of rain extending down out the east coast. That was what was in here for us yesterday. It has now moved off. There's a big patch of rain here that is the cause of or is the result of a disturbance in the upper atmosphere. That's giving some rain for the Carolinas and for Virginia today. And it extends on down to the south. But back behind it, it is basically clear. There's a few high clouds. If you look at the national map, you will see that the low pressure disturbance in the east coast that is causing that. But the high pressure we are seeing, there's a high pressure right here that is going to be moving off to the east for us for the next few days, which means our temperatures are going to start to warm up a little bit, and we should have some nice weather for the next couple of days until Saturday, when this system is just starting to develop now out in the west. That will be in here for Saturday, and it's going to bring us some rain for the weekend. If we look at the temperature map for tomorrow, you'll see that warm air is starting to gradually move off to the west. We are still sticking in the 50 to 60 degree area. I think that we aren't going to see any 70s or 80s here in the next few days, but it looks like the warm air is trying to push its way through. As we look at our highs on Friday, the warm air starts to push a little bit farther to the north, but then there's another batch of cooler air that's going to move through, and that should push its way in here for the weekend and cool things down for us again by the beginning of next week. If we look at the state map for our temperatures right now, you see we are holding around 49 to 50 degrees. That's basically the case for the entire state. Most areas are sunny and partly cloudy. Basically, we're looking at upper 40s and 50s and lower 50s. If we look at our forecast for tonight, you'll see we will be clear and cool. Our lows should drop down to around 32, and winds will be light and variable out of the north. And then for tomorrow, you'll see our skies will be partly cloudy with a high of around 53. We may warm up even more if we see a little more sun. Winds are going to be out of the southwest, which is going to usher in some warm air. And our extended forecast calls for rain on Saturday, but we should stay dry for Friday. So temperatures are going to be in the upper 60s on Friday, hopefully, and then dropping off again in the weekend as we see some rain. So.
Well, I'm not complaining. That's the best forecast we've had in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we're going to get a mixed bag, but it's going to stay nice for the next few days, so get out and enjoy it while you can.
Okay, thank you, John.
Okay, don't go away. Todd Cox is next with a sports update.
Having the right resume is vital to your future career. That's why you need a resume from Copy Corner, your professional resume headquarters. Copy Corner will help you every step of the way, from writing to layout to printing. And you'll end up with a resume to impress any prospective employer. For one resume or 100, you can't beat our prices, high quality, or fast service. So for a professional resume, contact the experts at Copy Corner, located in Saddler Square, Big Rapids, and the Cinema Plaza, Mount Pleasant.
Honey, it's Mom. Please let me in. I'm worried.
Learn to see the signs of mental illness. 2 out of 3 people who get help get better. For a free booklet, call the National Mental Health Association.
Everyone has their own idea of a hero.
Magic Johnson. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Mr. Neal.
My hero, Gloria Stefan.
Martin Luther King. Mr. Hope.
These are teachers, but to the kids they've reached, they're heroes. They've given them hope. They've given them choices. They've changed their lives.
Well, the children are the heroes.
The most fulfilling thing is watching a child succeed.
I just like to help them make their dreams come true.
Teachers have the power to wake up young minds, to be heroes, to make a difference. Reach for that power. Teach. If you want to make an impact on our future, call 1-800-45-TEACH.
Mr. Wilkins.
Mrs. Eisenhower.
Mr. Adler.
Be a teacher. Be a hero.
Todd joins us now with sports.
Todd, CMU baseball played a doubleheader today.
Yeah, they finally hit the fields after yesterday's cancellation. The Central Michigan baseball team are hosting the University of Detroit as the Titans took the first game 3-2. Troy Novak started for the Chips in the first game. They are currently in the second game as it is now tied 5-5 in the ninth. The Chips play this Friday and Saturday in doubleheaders against Eastern Michigan. Well, the two best offensive clubs got together last night at Tiger Stadium, but it was a low-scoring affair as the Tigers came away with a 3-1 victory over the Texas Rangers. Let's go down the corner at Tiger Stadium down at the Michigan and Trumbull. As the Tigers, as I said, as Cecil Fielder is up, and he'll pop it straight up in the air, and notice the hang time in the right-hand corner. No, it's not a punt. The wind was blowing, and it was Billy Ripken lost it in the lights in the Michigan sky and let it drop as he was totally lost. The next batter will be Rob Deere. Here is Rob Deere will get a pitch. He'll drive it deep to left field, but the wind blows it back, and Juan Gonzalez runs hard as he makes a routine fly ball into a 40-yard sprint. Top of the 7th now, as Dean Palmer is at the plate for the Texas Rangers, and he'll take a David Wells pitch deep in the upper deck of Tiger Stadium. This game is tied at 1-1. And we go to the bottom of the 7th. Lou Whitaker up. Off the bench, hit a long fly ball deep to left field. It could be, no, it's off the padding. For the pinch hit double to score Mika Telton to take a 2-1 lead. Again, the Tigers win at 3-1. David Wells got the win for the Tigers to improve to 3-0 on the year. And Kenny Rogers, no, not the singer, took the loss for the Rangers. He's 1-1. Elsewhere on the Major League scoreboard yesterday, it was Boston 5, Seattle 2. John Valentin and Mike Greenall each homered for the Red Sox. Oakland came back to beat New York 9-7. Ricky Henderson hit a 2-run homer in the 10th to stop the A's 4-game losing streak. It was California pounded Cleveland 8-7-2. Rookies T.J. Snow and Tim Salmon homered for the Angels. Chicago squeaked out a 2-1 victory over Baltimore. Frank Thompson, a sacrifice fly in the 14th, won it for the Chi Sox. Minnesota shut out Milwaukee 10-0. Dave Winfield started the scoring in the first with a 3-run homer for the Twins. Kansas City clobbered Toronto 8-2 as Kevin Apier pitched a 3-hitter for the Royals. Turning to the senior circuit, Philadelphia edged San Diego 4-3. John Kruk his National League leading 5th home run in the 14th to give the Phillies the win. San Francisco down New York 4-1. Barry Bonds had a 2-run homer for San Francisco. St. Louis shut down Colorado 5-0 as rookie pitcher Rene Arocha won his 3rd straight for the Cards. It was Montreal 7, Los Angeles 3. The Expos' Mike Lansing tied a team record with 3 doubles in a game. Chicago got by Houston 2-1 as Dwight Smith had 3 hits and scored both Cub runs. Atlanta edged Florida 5-4 as Greg Maddox improved his record to 2-1 and had an RBI single for the Braves. And Cincinnati shut out Pittsburgh 5-0 as Barry Larkin had 3 hits and 2 ribbies for the Reds. Well, the Detroit Pistons' playoff chances slipped away last night as they fell to the Cleveland Cavaliers 105-81. It was Detroit's 3rd straight loss as we traveled to Cleveland and Richfield Coliseum down in Cleveland, down on the Lake Erie. As Detroit, as I said, slipped away as we don't have the highlights, I guess not. But anyways, it was one of those nights for the Pistons. Dennis Rodman led Detroit with 17 points and 18 rebounds for the loss. Detroit hasn't missed the playoffs since 1983. And finally, the Detroit Red Wings will play tonight in Game 2 of their NHL playoff series against Toronto. Last night in the NHL, Quebec got by Montreal 4-1. Scott Young scored twice for the Nordiques, and Brian Bellows scored the Canadiens' lone goal to give Quebec a 2-0 lead in the series. The Islanders skated past Washington in 2 overtimes, 5-4. Brian Mullen scored with 5:10 left in the overtime to tie the series up. It was Pittsburgh blowing out New Jersey 7-0. The Penguins set an NHL record for most consecutive playoff wins with its 13th in a row. And Buffalo shut out Boston 4-0. 4 Sabres scored in the game, and Grant Fuhr stopped 34 shots as Buffalo took a 2-0 lead in the series. And that's the first look at sports.
Okay, thanks, Todd. Angie?
This afternoon, the Alumni House invited graduating seniors to a special reception on their pending graduation. News Central's Chris Sosha was there.
The Central Michigan University Alumni Association is having their senior and graduate send-off this afternoon from 4 until 6 p.m. It was just their way to say goodbye and welcome into the Alumni Association for the graduates and the class of '93.
We're having a reception for all of our graduates, and we do this every semester. Try to give graduates the opportunity to come into the Alumni House, find out a little bit more about the Alumni Association, that their membership is free, and we hope they'll continue with a lifelong relationship with the university. And just kind of a fun, relaxing time before exams begin and real world hits.
The reception includes WCFX broadcasting live outside the tent. There will also be all kinds of food served, courtesy of TCBY and Subway. A raffle might ensure you a chance to win something, and the tarot card readers will help to tell your future while mingling with your future CMU colleagues. The Alumni Association is inviting all the seniors and graduates down today for a tour of the Alumni House and also to partake in the festivities out back underneath the tent. This is Chris Sosha reporting for News Central.
For our final Monday-Wednesday episode and for our final story tonight, we have a special News Central goodbye.
Since today is the last Monday-Wednesday show, News Central decided to give you a behind-the-scenes look at our news team and let you know what their plans are for this summer. We'll begin with a very important member of our team, producer Sherry Gum. Sherry has worked here for 1.5 years and will be missed very much when she graduates this May.
This summer, I am interning at 2 stations, a radio station and a television station. The radio station is right here in Mount Pleasant, WUPS, and I'll be doing that on weekends. And during the week, I'll be working at First of America, and later on in the summer, because of the transition of their intern reporters, I'm going to be interning at WLNS in Lansing.
Another veteran on the news team is our assignment editor, Jim Sutton.
This summer, I have no idea. Hopefully searching for and finding a job.
Here's the familiar face of news anchor David Scott. Dave has worked here 2 semesters and is a junior at CMU.
Summer, I'm going to be interning at 7 and 4, and I think the experience here at News Central has helped me greatly.
This was our weatherman, Todd Spitzley's first semester at News Central.
This summer, I have an internship planned with the National Weather Service. So I'm basically going to be working.
Todd Cox has been your sportscaster all semester.
I plan on working, trying to get an internship at Enterprise Rent-A-Car for management training and work at Great Stuff, where I have worked for the last 3 years as a piston retail store.
And now for News Central's roving reporters.
I'm going to be getting married May 29th, and I'm going to be out in El Paso, Texas for 5 weeks, and then I'm headed to Yuma, Arizona for 3 years, where I plan to pursue